What's up everyone? I'm here today with a video that I am super excited to make and share because for the first time ever I have purchased a Moncler jacket. And I've made this video part of the OCD series for Obsessive Compulsive Design because if you know me, you know that I love jackets. They are my #1 favorite article of clothing, and yet, despite that, and despite the fact that Moncler makes some of the, I guess, most well-known jackets on the face of the planet, I had yet to purchase one until yesterday, and it all has to do with design. Let's get into it. So Moncler is an Italian outerwear maker that is probably most well known for its puffers. The thing about Moncler is it's been around for a very long time, and generally speaking, it's rested on its laurels. From a materials perspective, they pretty much work with nylon, and that's it. And their price points are very, very expensive. They've gotten a lot better in their design aspect. They've collaborated with a lot of interesting contemporary designers, specifically to appeal to a younger audience. And I think it's working, but even still, at their price points, when I compare it to my favorite brand, Stone Island, they're just not innovative enough. They have the design, but they're still working with the same basic materials, nylon. And when you compare it to Stone Island, which is probably around half the price for something that has much more interesting textiles, dyes, colors, it's just very hard for me to spend up for a Moncler, even though I have a lot of very expensive jackets and I don't have a problem paying for them. So let me show you an example of exactly what I'm talking about here. Let's look at some of the materials up close for the Stone Island jackets that I have, and then compare it to the Moncler that I just bought. So here we have some of the Stone Island textiles, and you can see these have a lot more character than just your typical nylon jacket that a lot of luxury wear brands use. These are so much more interesting to me in terms of how they feel, in terms of how they look. And they are just all over the map with the innovation. Whereas the Moncler is much more in line with the nylon that you have from this Burberry jacket here, or this Fendi jacket over here. So from a material perspective, not nearly as interesting as what you get from Stone Island. So, all that being said, there's still place in my closet, which has probably over 100 interesting jackets, for a Moncler, you would think. I have hunted for puffers at consignment shops and outlets. I really can't bring myself to pay full price for one of these things. But during a recent vacation to Los Angeles, my wife and I went to the Cabazon outlet, and there is a Moncler store there. And I saw a number of interesting jackets that did catch my attention and that I was possibly interested in purchasing, but for very specific design issues, I did not. So I tried on 3 different Moncler jackets. They all had the Moncler embroidery around the exterior of the hood and all the way down the side. And there were 3 different ones. If I could have mixed and matched from all 3 and built the perfect jacket, I would have bought one. But each of these had its own specific issue that turned me off to it. So the first one I tried on was a very sporty looking, almost kind of cheetah print camouflage purple jacket, and I really liked it, except it was too short. Because it was a sporty jacket, it was intentionally cut shorter than the other jackets, and so that was a no-go. I have to have the proper length. The second one I tried on was a red one, and I did actually really like that, except they went and they put a silicone patch on the shoulder instead of the traditional cloth, felt, old school patch. And I personally hate that. I hate the silicone patch. I don't think it matches the rest of the aesthetic of the jacket at all. All of the luxury brands are doing this lately. We just went by Coach today. Coach is doing it. A Burberry vest I just got, they're doing it. I don't like it. I want my patches to be more old school and to just have that kind of last forever feel. Silicone, it might hold up, I guess, technically over time, but it just doesn't look right, and it doesn't feel to me like that classic last forever type of piece. So I avoided that one. And then actually, this was actually at South Coast Mall, I found another one that kind of fixed the problem, and it was purple, and it had basically a Velcro black patch, but it came with a old school patch that you could attach to it, which was very cool. And it had the length, and the color was amazing, except the Moncler that wrapped around the hood, instead of being black and white, which really just pops out, was the color of the jacket and then black for the text, and it's so much more muted. And I ultimately decided none of these were for me, and I didn't buy any of them. All right, so now you know why I didn't buy the other Moncler jackets that I looked at. But the question remains, why did I buy this one? And the answer is actually quite fun. So my wife and I were shopping at Nordstrom Rack in San Francisco yesterday, and my wife found this Moncler jacket, size 4 men, in the women's section, and it was marked down from $1,050 to $350. When she showed this to me, it felt like I had won the freaking lottery. I was ecstatic. I mean, this is the type of jacket that at retail, I honestly probably would not have touched. It is not your quintessential or classic Moncler in any way whatsoever. It is, quite frankly, icy hot all around. The giant Moncler logo that wraps the entire body at the bottom, contrasted, in black against all white, is just in your face. It pops, but as a First Moncler jacket, I wouldn't have done it, not at full price. I would have gotten a classic puffer or something that just, really kind of scratched the true Moncler itch before jumping into something this contemporary. And the difference is the price you pay. And this is true for a lot of the jackets that I have. A lot of the stuff I have is very eclectic, and the reality is a lot of people are too gun shy to even try to wear it. And I've secured so many pieces that I think are just incredible that I probably would never have bitten on had they not been at a very significant discount. And now that I've picked this up, I love it. Money can forgive a lot of sins, So saving $700-ish on this jacket, it's got what? The silicone patch that I hate, and I don't care. It actually matches the aesthetic of this jacket perfect because the rest of it is black on white. Therefore, the patch just needed to be black. It actually makes sense. And it's actually quite oversized compared to the other jackets that I tried on, which is very cool. So, is it worth it? $350? Heck yes. At $1,000, that is a very good question. I can tell you this, everything stitched perfectly. You would expect that. All the hardware, Moncler logos on the front, Moncler on the back, everything, you know, the zippers, same thing. The attention to detail is there. The pull cord on the hoodie, Moncler print, and probably one of my favorite attention to detail points of this jacket is that this logo that wraps around the entire back to the front again is not just a vinyl print, which is what they could have gotten away with if they wanted to. Instead, this is an actual patch, the kind that you would find on high-end sports jerseys for the names and whatnot, that is basically overlaid onto this jacket all the way around. That is a very, very, very nice attention to detail touch. It is a very, very well done piece. Still, couple of issues that probably would have kept me from buying this at retail price. This is actually minor. I don't think that I would have cared that much, but this is still annoying to me just a little bit. On the pull cord, the spacing, it says Moncler, space. On this side, they cut it off part way on both sides. And that to me is just sloppy. It's not that much effort to pinch this in the right spot. I don't know if they use a machine, if they just have a set length that it has to be, but I would rather they had pinched that, showing the full Moncler text. The second thing that puts me off to this jacket that's not that big a deal, but it is a little bit, is the way they integrated the collar into the hood. It's all one piece, there's no separation, and it therefore makes it a little bit awkward if you try to zip this up and or put it on your head. So I don't think that necessarily looks awful on my head and fully zipped. I think that there's just something about this design relative to if they had split the collar from the hood so that there's two pieces. It allows you to wear it down and have it kind of rest nicely on your back and still look kind of formal up front. This wears a little bit awkward and it all comes in, it's all very stiff up here, it comes into the zipper. You kind of have to pay attention if you don't want it to look sloppy to how you wear it around your neck, where other jackets that have a separate collar, the hood will just fall back nicely, the collar will stay in place. I much prefer that. And honestly, that might have been a reason that I would not have bitten on this jacket at retail price. But at $350, I am absolutely stoked that this is my first Moncler jacket. Thank you for watching. If you made it through all of that, I appreciate you. I know I can be a bit much. My wife knows it. There are people out there that are like me. I know it. If you're there, message me in the comments. I want to hear from you. Thanks. Bye.